with Alert Day coverage now. This is Wave News.
Good morning. Okay, so JCPS was out Monday for President's Day. Yesterday was a scheduled day off, and now they're on NTI again today. All right, so pretty good, though, because we've had a lot of snow coming down.
Yeah, and the roads are still slick. Wait till you see the map that Olivia has with how the roads are looking in the metro, because even she, as she walked out, went, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have a lot going on this morning. Please make sure that you are taking it slow. If you have to head out, if you do not have to go anywhere, please do not travel, even though the snow is starting to lighten up across the area. We still have the winter storm warning and, of course, that winter weather advisory through noon. Something tells me they're probably going to end that a little bit early because of this. We are seeing that snow really lightening across the area, lessening in that intensity, but still the light snow stretching from English all the way towards Nebraska, down towards Carrollton, through Henry and Oldham counties into the metro, and also for those of you further to the south into portions of Meade County. Now, while the radar isn't quite showing it, there is still plenty of flurries flying in between these bands of light snow. Also, for those of you further to the south, from Springfield down towards Adair County, you're still getting some of that light snow and some flurries in your area, too. So we're watching this really starting to drop off. Now we're just getting into that time frame where you're going to see mainly flurries and very, very light snow across our area falling. Going to keep that drying trend towards the afternoon. The afternoon cloudy and cold with highs today only in the 20s for most spots. We have an additional winter weather advisory. This is going to be for later on tonight's snow, and we could see around an additional inch of snowfall with this one moving in after about 7, 8 o'clock tonight, becoming widespread towards midnight. And then we'll watch things quickly fading into early tomorrow morning. Now, while things are starting to lighten up in terms of what's coming down from the sky, Olivia, not the same thing with that traffic map.
Not at all. We're not used to seeing this many crashes this early. So let's start in southern Indiana, where we have a report of a crash on I-65 southbound as you're approaching I-265. Then in Louisville, we have a couple of crashes on the Snyder. One on the Snyder headed southbound near Taylorsville Road, another one near Preston Highway. And then let's check in on that crash on I-264 near Poplar Level. It looks like they have that car still hanging out there. It looks like it's spun out. So another car helping out this morning. We had another one there earlier, too. So this just seems to be a tough area. And you can kind of see how they've carved out. Oh, and it looks like another spin out that just happened within the last minute. So this is just showing you how dangerous these roads are right now. So even though the crews have been out on the roads, still having some issues this morning. Our speeds very reduced right now, hovering around 40 miles per hour in places. That's why our traffic map is so yellow and orange this morning. It's not because we have a big backup anywhere in particular, but it's because of those speeds. People are driving so slowly this morning. If you can, please try to stay off the roads because those snow crews are putting in so much work right now. They're out there trying to make things much better, but clearly having some issues. And as I saw earlier on our storm tracker feed, I saw some cars spin out and then people got out of their cars. So not only are you dodging those cars out there, you're also probably trying to dodge some people. So please, we cannot emphasize this enough. Be careful this morning. Shannon?
Absolutely. All right, so the good news is JCPS buses not rolling today because those kids are on NTI. A number of other districts also doing the same. The Metro Snow Team has been out treating those roads with snow and brine. This is the snow map right here. The red means plows and salt trucks will be heading to those roads. And again, they're asking people just to stay out of the plow's way. Let's go right now to Josh Ninke, who is live in that storm tracker right now. And yeah, that was crazy. We just saw that car spin out right there on the traffic cam on 264.
Yeah, Shannon, on 264, we have seen no fewer than 6 cars spun out. We didn't see any of them actually happen at the moment, but boy, we must have just missed them. So many cars off on the sides of the road. So please, 264 is looking like quite the mess this morning. So it's a very slushy road over there, and that's part of what's causing so much trouble. Now, right now, we're on 64 west heading into Louisville, and I'll go ahead and tell you, 64 is looking in much better shape than 264. It looks like the road has been treated very well. We're not seeing any or nearly as much slush. The road just looks a little shiny from all the treatment and whatnot. So again, not looking too bad this morning. Let me give you a look behind us right here on the rooftop cam, best that I can anyway. Yeah, so cars taking it nice and slow here, but again, not as difficult going. I will tell you, boy, just please be careful out there. I have seen too many people taking it way too fast out there today because they think that their car can handle it, and it just can't. You might be a good driver, sure, but your car just can't handle some of what these roads are doing for you out there. So please be careful out there this morning if you have to get out. We're going to keep checking things here for you in the next half hour. Live here in the Storm Tracker, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thanks, Josh. Operation White Flag is in effect with the snow and cold temperatures lingering. As long as a white flag is outside of a shelter, people can stay there for as long as they need. Wayside Christian Mission and the Salvation Army are two white flag shelter locations. And over the weekend, 2 people died from hypothermia. Leaders of Louisville Outreach for the Unsheltered say there needs to be easier options for people to use.
And be open to the right to shelter, make it easier for people to open up pop-up shelters during inclement weather, so that we have more options that aren't all centralized in the downtown area, which is just simply inaccessible for a huge percentage of our population.
We have a list of warming shelters and ways to help the homeless community in this story on wave3.com. And as we have that blanket of snow, some areas, though, still haven't ushered out the floodwaters. So drivers are asked to be careful. You really don't know what weather combination you may encounter as you're on the roads. Marissa Burke is joining us live with more. Marissa?
Good morning. We're out here near the Galt House on 4th Street where it merges into River Road. But if you can look behind me, that road is underwater. So if you're used to taking this route to get to work, remind yourself that this section of River Road near the Galt House is underwater, right near the Belle of Louisville. You know, most people will go this way to get on the expressway. Another way you could go is going down 3rd Street. Just as a reminder, MSD is working on a plan to try to get the Ohio rivers down. They installed flood walls up at 10th and 27th Streets on Tuesday. On 10th Street, that's the first time they've done that since 2017. Now, the openings on the flood wall are where cars could normally go through. The goal is to keep the Ohio River at bay to prevent it from backing into the roadways like we're seeing right here on 4th Street merging into River Road. The river is projected to crest this Friday. So, guys, again, if you're getting out and about today, just be sure to give yourselves more time so that you know you can find an alternative route to get to your destination. But if you don't have to go anywhere, don't. Reporting live, Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Marissa, thanks. And recovery continues across Kentucky after the devastating flooding. Nearly 200 people who were hit the hardest by flooding are taking shelter in 4 state parks. Look at this video from Pike County. Some roads, homes, businesses, even Pikeville High School all flooded. People in the area say this next winter storm is going to delay recovery efforts.
It's just been terrible for the people. And then this cold weather coming in on top of us, you know, it's just a big cleanup process. It's going to take a while to get done.
Pike County School Superintendent David Trimble says it will take weeks before they can reopen Pikeville High School. The Wave Weather app is a good thing to have right now. It can really help you on mornings and days like this. You can get alerts about snow totals and problem issues on the roads, too. You can find it for free in your app store. The man charged in a DUI crash that killed a Louisville woman will be back in court today, and we're hearing from his lawyers for the first time. Scott Drollinger is charged with murder, criminal mischief, and DUI. The late-night crash happened February 9th and left Anna Marie Gonzalez dead. Attorneys representing Drollinger believe his $1 million bond hinders his rights to defend himself in court. They called it prohibitively excessive and oppressively high in a motion filed Monday. One co-counsel says Drollinger's pretrial services report shows he is not a threat to the public.
Standards in Kentucky about, setting bond according to a defendant's risk to the community and, that defendant's risk of flight. Scott Drollinger doesn't pose any risk to the community nor any risk of flight.
The day after the deadly crash, a witness claimed Drollinger was belligerent at the scene. Gonzalez's family says Drollinger has a pattern of abuse and violent behavior. His attorneys did not comment on those allegations. A company with headquarters in Louisville announced it is moving corporate workers out of the city. About 100 KFC corporate office employees are expected to relocate to Texas over the next 6 months. About 90 remote positions will also relocate. The company says the move will help them better grow their brands. Yum Brands and the KFC Foundation will maintain corporate offices in Louisville. In a statement, Mayor Greenberg says he is disappointed by the move and he has requested to meet with the Yum CEO soon. Greenberg says he'll work with the company's leadership to continue growing its presence in Louisville. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours.
And as we head over the next 12, we're going to keep some of those flurries flying as we head throughout the mid to late morning hours. As we get into the afternoon, cloudy, cold. Our actual highs will be in the low 20s, but we're going to feel more like the single digits and low teens even into the afternoon. Then we get into tonight. More snow on the way. Then I'll let you know how much more of that additional snowfall could be coming our way on the other side of the break.
Thanks, Tawana. And a bill aimed at underage vape sales is moving forward in Frankfort. What else that bill would do if it is passed coming up on Sunrise. And our storm tracker out and about this morning as the roads are very slick in some spots, so take it slow. We'll have an update coming up this morning.
This newscast is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Now, Wave News.
It's 6:13, and look at this. This is why we need to be careful out there. The Washington County, Indiana Sheriff's Office posted this picture of a rollover crash on North White River Road to remind people to be careful. It was an 18-year-old driver behind the wheel, slid off the road yesterday morning because those roads were slick. Then that person had to climb out of the window to get out. Fortunately, he was not hurt. But do be careful today. Josh was in our storm tracker this morning, and he was saying he's seen so many cars spin out. Yesterday, I was on 64 going through that tunnel, and a car spun out right behind me and went crashing into the wall. So
take it slow.
Take it slow.
That is the key to everything.
Yeah.
Take it slow if you have to head out this morning. Now, some roads do look better than others, which is a good thing. 64, if you're traveling there, that looks pretty well treated. And even 65 south, where the storm tracker is right now, looks almost as good as 64. But even if the road looks clear, keep in mind there could still be a little bit of that ice hovering there when the road just looks wet. So you want to make sure that you're still taking it slow this morning. Now, the snow that we were dealing with overnight earlier this morning is now starting to fade. We are seeing some more of that light snow still falling from English to Seymour to Butlerville. And then for those of you in the metro, you're seeing a little bit more of the flurries flying, some of that light snow as well. That does stretch all the way up into Henry County. And for those of you even further to the south of that, another batch of light snow still falling for those of you in southern Greene County and into Adair County. You can kind of see a little bit more how widespread those flurries are along and north of the parkways when I make the radar more sensitive. So the flurries are still going to be around for a little bit longer. But this first batch of snow now quickly racing off towards the east. Our temperatures are very cold across the region this morning. So that's the thing that road crews are going to have to battle a bit more, those cold temperatures. We're sitting in the teens across the area. 14 degrees in E-Town and into Shelbyville, 13 for those of you in Salem. But the wind chill just feels like 1 degree in E-Town, feeling more like 3 degrees in Shelbyville, and wind chill of just 5 degrees right now in Louisville. So yes, everybody's cold. As we get into the afternoon, going to do our best to rise into those low to mid 20s for actual highs, but keeping those wind chills just in the low teens, and that is it. Now that we're starting to see this batch of snow fading, we're going to keep those flurries going through the 7, 8, and 9 o'clock hours for some of you as we still have those clouds overhead. Now our temperatures will try to rise with the help of some of those clouds trying to break apart, but still going to keep those clouds around for the afternoon, especially as we head into the late afternoon hours. Any really spots of clearing that we see in some of those clouds going to fill right back in as our next wave of snow moves into our region. And with that second wave of snow for later on tonight, we have another winter weather advisory in place across the majority of our region. We'll see that moving in after about 7, 8 o'clock this evening, keeping that snow around through the midnight hour. And once we get into early tomorrow morning, the main batch of snow moves out, but then we'll keep some flurries flying throughout about your Thursday morning commute. So, and everybody wants to know, how much additional snowfall are we looking at? Well, for most of us, around an inch of snow. That's it with this next batch for later on tonight. But for some of you along and east of 65, you can see some slightly higher totals, and we'll watch for that. But overall, with this next batch, not a whole lot more. But with the cold temperatures that we have in place, it will not take very much for us to see some additional issues. So that's something we'll watch for your Thursday morning commute. Additional slick spots, some more snow-covered roads, and then, of course, the frigid temperatures. We have a cold weather advisory in place for tomorrow morning as we see those temperatures tomorrow morning in the single digits. But for many of us, our wind chills will be near or below 0. We'll climb to near 20 for your Thursday high, jumping further into the 20s for highs on Friday. Looking at some more chances for some light snow, some flurries on Saturday. But as of right now, that chance not looking so great because we don't look to have enough moisture with that system. If that changes, we'll keep you updated. Gradually climbing further into those 30s and 40s, then 50s as next week goes along, with another system trying to bring us some rain and snow by the middle and end of next week.
Thank you, Tawana. And breaking overnight, more men are facing charges connected to the string of burglaries at the homes of star athletes. Here's Olivia to tell us more about this case and this breaking news alert.
The Florida criminal complaint adds 4 defendants to 3 previously alleged to be connected to the investigation of the burglaries nationwide. All 7 of the defendants are from the South American country, Chile. They're charged with conspiracy to commit interstate transportation of stolen property in Florida. The 4 who were already named are also facing additional charges in Ohio. The alleged crime ring targeted the homes of star athletes like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. They're accused of stealing millions in watches, chains, jewelry, designer suitcases, designer bags, and cash. Police say some of the defendants even posted photos with some of the stolen items. We'll be right back with more Sunrise right after this.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots.
Well, as winter weather approaches the Carolinas, crews have been working to remove Helene debris in western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina. As temperature drops and precipitation moves in, it's important to get debris, especially out of the roadways. So crews have been focusing on the roads and ditches. They used a bucket truck to cut some of the branches and chainsaws to remove trees leaning towards the roads. And then they loaded them up into some big trucks. So they're trying to get all of that cleaned up before the snow really starts to come down. Here's Tawana as we look at the next 10 days, and we are going to warm up, so that's good.
Yes, the fact that we have 50s in the forecast, I think a lot of us are going to celebrate that, that's for sure. Hey, it's spring. For a little bit anyway. We have the alert day out for today, and we're going to have it for the entire day because even though we are dealing with just some flurries flying in most spots as of right now, we are going to see additional accumulating snowfall for overnight into early tomorrow morning, and we'll have to keep an eye on the impacts that could have for your Thursday morning commute. We're going to start off our Thursday with temperatures in the single digits in many spots, and we'll see that again Friday morning, so pretty cold for the end of the work week. Getting into the weekend, another system will try to bring us a little bit of snow, but as of right now, it doesn't look to have a lot of moisture with it, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for your Saturday. And then we just really start to warm up. More of us getting above freezing, finally, on Sunday. We're going to keep that trend going with some 50s showing up for next Tuesday and Wednesday. And then next Thursday, here comes another system. This is going to have a bit more of that rain with it, but it could bring us some snow depending on how quickly that colder air can move in.
All right, thanks. And the head of the U.S. Postal Service is stepping down. It comes after a big delay in mail during winter weather at the beginning of the year. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy asked the USPS to begin the process of finding his successor. He says it's important the Postal Service be well positioned for future success under the new leadership. He's pushed for major cost cutting at USPS since he took over the job as Postmaster General in 2020. He had the goal of making the post office, which has lost $100 billion since 2007, profitable. USPS didn't say when his last day is. Some USDA employees working on the country's response to bird flu were accidentally fired over the weekend. The United States Department of Agriculture acknowledged that error in a statement. They said they are working to swiftly rectify the situation and rescind those letters for those who are considered to be frontline public safety workers. Egg prices have continued to soar as the bird flu has spread. The latest data from the USDA shows 100 151 confirmed flocks have been hit, affecting 23 million birds, and the CDC has confirmed 68 cases of bird flu among humans in the U.S. so far. A new movement is hoping to strengthen animal abuse laws in Kentucky. Advocates, students, and lawmakers gathered yesterday for Kentucky Animal Action Day. Students from Louisville's Assumption High School were part of the rally, so were nonprofits. Penny, a rescue dog, was there, and she was thrown from a moving car in a plastic bag in December of 2020. Her legs intentionally broken by her abusers. Now, organizations like the Arrow Fund are asking for stricter laws to protect animals like Penny.
To be able to share her story makes everything real. We need stricter animal abuse laws and animal welfare laws. If we knew who abused Penny, they wouldn't have even been fined. And that is a very sad thing in the state of Kentucky.
A new study shows last year Kentucky dropped to the 4th worst state for animal protection laws. As for laws related to preventing animal abuse in Kentucky, Senate Bill 39 was introduced to redefine dogfighting and make it a felony animal cruelty offense. More snow is coming down right now, and some people still dealing with floodwaters too. MSD has installed those floodgates to try to contain the Ohio River level. Marissa Burke will have details on that, and we'll check in with Josh Nickey in that storm tracker coming up.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good Wednesday morning. Yes, it is another alert day. A lot of snow. Take a look at those roads. If you have to head out this morning, try to give yourself a little bit more time. Let's go to Tawana. She is out in the weather garden right now with more. And so how much snow has already come down?
So here in the weather garden, it looks like it's about 1 to 2 inches of snowfall, but we're a little bit more sheltered because we have that brick wall around it. So it's kind of helping to keep things a little bit blowing around. I've noticed a few snow drifts here and there, and you may notice the same thing in your area as well, but it is overall cold right now. I'm not made for this. It's very cold out here. So these flurries, very light snow showers, flurries flying across the region as the snow that we had overnight is now tapering off across the area. Some parts of southern Indiana have seen around 1 to 2 inches of snow, while areas further to the south, you've seen closer to 4+ inches of snowfall in your region. But all the snow right now is just mainly flurries. It's going to taper off as we head throughout the rest of the morning before we see additional snowfall for later on tonight. And yes, we're looking at more accumulations then as well. I mentioned that it was cold. Yeah, we're waking up the temperatures in the teens across the area, ranging from 15 degrees in Frankfort to 14 in Hardinsburg, 13 in North Vernon. But our wind chills right now are in the low single digits. Once we head into later on this afternoon, we're going to do our best to warm up, eventually ending up in those low to mid 20s for highs, but still feeling like the teens for the second half of the day. I mentioned that potential for additional snow coming our way, and because of that, we have another winter weather advisory that kicks in later on this afternoon at 4 p.m. But a lot of that snow doesn't fully start to move in until after about 6, 7 o'clock tonight into our particular area. So we'll watch for that snow overnight into very early tomorrow morning. We could see around an additional inch of snowfall. And let me tell you, in terms of the wind chills, yeah, I'm feeling every bit of it this morning, Olivia.
Yeah, I bet you are. Get inside, Tawana. It is too cold to just be hanging out there. Getting you up to date on traffic right now. Watching our Metro traffic cameras, it's interesting because you can see so many brake lights out there, so many cars driving slowly this morning, and occasionally we've even seen spin-outs happen as people are trying to brave the elements right now. You can see some spots where cars have just carved out a strip where hopefully you'll be able to drive safely, but our Metro snow crews are out there working on these roads this morning. Please give them plenty of space. And if you do have to head out, add some extra time in there for your morning commute, because as you can see, our speeds are hovering around 40 miles per hour. So it looks like people are heeding those warnings, driving slowly right now. It's especially slow along I-264, both east and westbound this morning. We do still have that crash on I-265 southbound near Taylorsville Road. They're still blocking the left-hand lane there. But yeah, seeing a whole lot of yellow on this map. And a heads up for our drivers in Allen County, getting reports that Highway 1533 is blocked due to about 5 Amazon trucks getting stuck in the snow. snow there. No idea how long that's going to take for them to clear out, but please be careful. Our interstates, again, looking very slow this morning, and plus those back roads could cause you issues, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Shannon?
Yeah. All right. So let's take a closer look at the roads right now. Josh Ninke's in the Storm Tracker with more. And where are you and how's it looking?
Yeah, so Shannon, we're heading on 65 South right now, and I'll go and say it's not looking too bad. We're spending more time on the highways because the main roads and side roads across the metro have been overall pretty good. The main issues we've been seeing have been out here. Let me show you what 65 South is looking like right now. You see it's treated and cleared off pretty well, but I will tell you, we still have seen cars off to the side that have wrecked out from the conditions that we're looking at right here. We're near mile, what is this? I think exit 117. Yeah, exactly. And for most of the stretch, it has not been too bad, but we've also seen plows and brine trucks heading out doing what they can to take care of stuff, but I also have seen too many vehicles going way too fast. So to give you kind of a brief from what I've seen here, 65 overall pretty good. 64 even a little bit better. That's actually been pretty nice. Waterson, though, has been just an absolute mess. We've seen more than half dozen vehicles that were having some troubles right there. So please, as you get out this morning, I'm going to keep reiterating, please be careful, please be slow. You might think that you've got your things got things covered as you're heading out there, but some of these conditions can, in a moment, just snap and change, and you can end up skidded out on the side of the road. So please be careful today. Live here in the Storm Tracker, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thanks, Josh. And there are 2 day warming centers open right now. They're located at Hope International AOH Church of God and Exodus Family Ministries, both open at 9 a.m. with some hours extending to around 5 p.m. All Louisville Metro Community Centers and Louisville Free Public Library locations will be open as warming centers during normal business hours, and there will also be warming spaces at neighborhood places when they're open. And TARC is operating under its winter weather detour plan. The bus service will be announcing which routes are changed as the weather moves through. We have a link where you can check out that plan on wave3.com. And the snow piled on problems for people in some spots still dealing with high flood waters. MSD installed flood walls to try to control the Ohio River levels. And let's go to Marissa Burke live right now with more. Marissa?
Shannon, this morning we showed you what it looked like over there by Joe's Crab Shack right in front of Waterfront Park in that parking lot area, and we saw some of the benches that were just under debris and water, and then we showed you what those flood walls looked like that MSD just installed. And now we're over here by the Galt House where 4th Street and River Road connect, and if you can see further down this ramp where that intersection happens, it is underwater. So if you typically would take this way to work that connects to the expressway, you'll have to use an alternative route. Again, we know that MSD put in those flood walls on 10th and 27th Streets to try to control the Ohio, and hopefully we'll see some of that go down through the week. But again, if you typically use this way to get to and from work, you'll want to find a different route and just be safe out there. Reporting live, Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thanks, Marissa. And as we're dealing with that snow and still the flooding, this is a good time to make sure you have the Wave Weather app. So some roads are blocked, and you can follow traffic right there, too. You can find that app for free in your phone's app store. New court documents reveal how a Jeffersonville man described killing his wife on Valentine's Day to police, all while their children were sleeping in the house. He is now being held without bond in Clark County. Taylor Meyer told police he suspected his wife, Deborah, was cheating on him. While their children were in bed Friday night, Meyer told police he looked through her smartwatch for incriminating texts, and when he asked to see her phone and she refused, things turned physical. Meyer told police he pinned her to the ground while he looked through her phone, and as she struggled, he says he punched her multiple times, then struck her in the head with a wine bottle. He said he choked her until she passed out or died, and at that point, Meyer said he stabbed his wife in the chest with a kitchen knife. Police said she had 40 stab wounds. Then he sent a picture of her body to the alleged boyfriend, writing, your fault. All of these details and more Meyer told to police in interviews in the hours after his wife's death. Meyer is being held without bond in Clark County. He has pled not guilty, and his trial is set for July 15th. New developments in a high-profile Indiana murder case. Lawyers for the man convicted in the Delphi murders, Richard Allen, now say 2 other men have confessed they were involved in the killings. Allen's defense attorneys have submitted a request for letters and taped interviews with a man named Richie Davis. Davis is currently serving prison time in Newcastle on meth charges. Davis told Allen's defense team he sent as many as 8 letters to Carroll County prosecutor Nick McClelland during Allen's highly publicized trial. The letters were about 2 other inmates who allegedly confessed to the murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. Davis also said he gave a recorded interview to police, but the letters in the interview were never shared with the defense team. The defense team is asking if the evidence exists, the prosecution provide and preserve it. Allen is currently serving a 130-year prison sentence. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours.
And as we head over the next 12, we'll be keeping an eye on those temperatures in the teens to start off the day with those wind chills in the single digits. Once we head into the afternoon, some more of those 20s around with those clouds overhead. So we're going to be talking about flurries this morning, cloudy this afternoon, and more snow later on tonight. I'm looking at more of that data coming in. I'll let you know what I'm seeing for those overnight snow showers after the break.
A bill that would crack down on the vaping industry in Kentucky is advancing in Frankfort. Senate Bill 100 passed a Senate committee yesterday. It would create license requirements for businesses to sell nicotine and tobacco products. Youth advocates have been pushing for legislation to prevent businesses selling vapes and e-cigarettes to teens. Kentucky law prohibits sales to anyone under the age of 21, but students are still getting them. And a recent report found 1 in 10 middle schoolers and 1 in 5 high schoolers reported using e-cigarettes.
All retailers of all nicotine products must be licensed in order for this legislation to work. We know that Kentucky has one of the highest densities of retailers as well. In fact, in Kentucky, for every McDonald's that there are, and I love McDonald's, there are about 20 nicotine retailers, at least.
This bill would also create compliance checks for businesses and harsher punishments for shops caught breaking the law. It now heads to the full Senate. A baby seal took a vacation from its everyday routine at the beach and took a trip. This was Sunday. Police say this little guy right here, so cute, was making his way across streets in New Haven. Then Mystic Aquarium experts say that this baby male gray seal is probably just a few weeks old, but it appeared to have an injured flipper. So he was taken to a Connecticut aquarium and will get rehab. And then once he's all better, they plan to release this little guy back into the ocean. So cute.
So adorable.
And knew how to get help.
Yeah, knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So adorable and intelligent. We love it. Yes. We love it. Now, that seal seems like it kind of likes the cold weather. For me, not so much.
Right. I know you were just outside. You're like, I'm not made for this.
I am not made for this. I'll let you know about the colder weather coming our way for the next couple of mornings in just 30 seconds.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. In the storm tracker right now, traveling northbound on 65, and hey, that doesn't look too bad. We like that. We like that a lot, right? Some of you, as you're heading out, while the main roads are looking pretty good, and they have been treated with the exception of the Waterston still looks pretty rough. A lot of those side roads are still snowy, a little bit slick in some spots, so please be careful as you're heading out. The widespread snow that we had earlier this morning has significantly tapered off, but we're still dealing with a little bit of that light snow coming down from parts of Crawford County and Orange County up towards Jennings County, and we're seeing that as well with a band showing up from near Cordon all the way towards Eminence and Frankfort. A little bit of that with some flurries flying showing up in the metro as of right now. And for those of you in Adair County, that snow is also coming down as of this moment. So overall, the snow has really started to taper off across the region, but if I make the radar more sensitive, you can see how widespread these flurries flurries really are for those of you along and north of the parkways. And that's something that's going to stay in the forecast throughout the morning commute, while the more widespread, more heavier snowfall is now out of our area. That's all because of this area of low pressure that's off towards our southeast, gradually pushing off towards the northeast. Now, in terms of your temperatures, we're sitting in the teens across the area. It is 14 degrees in Hardinsburg, LaGrange, and Shelbyville, 17 at the airport in Louisville. But the wind chills are a different story because we're feeling more like 3 degrees in Hardinsburg, feeling more like 3 degrees as well in Shelbyville, and a wind chill of just 5 degrees in Louisville. I was outside in the weather garden. Let me tell you, it definitely feels like it. It definitely feels like 5 right now, so bundle up. As you're heading out later on this morning, still keeping some flurries flying through the 8, 9 o'clock hour. But as we get into the afternoon, cloudy, cold, highs only in the low to mid-20s, but we're going to feel more like the upper single digits and the low teens across the area. So the cold is not going anywhere, even though we could see some breaks in those clouds. Now, as we get into later on tonight, we have another winter weather advisory that's going to kick in. So we still technically have one in place in the winter storm warning that goes until noon. But as of right now, we have another winter weather advisory that will kick in at 4 p.m. this afternoon, lasting through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning because of the additional snowfall that's coming our way and the impacts that we could see. We'll see that moving in after about 7, 8 o'clock tonight, keeping those rounds of snow showers through about midnight. And once we get closer to around 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, the majority of the snow moves out, but then we'll still keep some light snow showers and some flurries here and there through your Thursday morning commute. So overall, we're looking at around another inch of snowfall with this system. For those of you a little bit further to the east, you do have that potential to get those totals a little bit slightly higher than an inch, but overall for tonight, around an inch of additional snowfall, and that's it. But it's overall, we're going to be very cold getting into your Thursday morning. In fact, with the cold weather coming our way, we have a cold weather advisory for tomorrow morning, as we'll be waking up to temperatures in the single digits, and for many of us, wind chills will be near or below 0. And we'll repeat that same thing getting into Friday morning with more of that colder air around. The more snow you have on the ground, the colder that you will be for tomorrow morning and Friday morning. So just keep that in mind. We do have another system trying to move our way on Saturday. Now, it doesn't look to have a lot of moisture with it, which is why we have dropped those snow chances for Saturday. But still, a few light snow showers and flurries are certainly possible, and we're watching that very closely. By the end of the weekend and the beginning of next week, we really start to warm up more of those 30s, 40s, and even some 50s coming into our forecast as we get towards next Tuesday and Wednesday. By next Thursday, though, here comes yet another system trying to bring more rain and snow back into the forecast.
Thanks, Tawana. And Kentucky lawmakers want to create their own Department of Government Efficiency Task Force, or DOGE. Louisville Republican Representative John Hodgson and another lawmaker introduced a resolution to create a task force to make the state government more efficient and effective. The 10-person task force would meet monthly throughout the 2025 legislative interim with a goal to identify cost-saving measures and eliminating government waste. Hodgkin says it'll save taxpayers money. The federal version of DOGE is influenced by billionaire Elon Musk. A southern Indiana man is charged with intimidation after state police say he threatened Musk's life in posts on X. State police did not go into detail about the post they say David Cherry made. After a search of his home in Clarksville, detectives confiscated an AR-15 style rifle, a handgun, ammunition, and a ballistic vest. Cherry is in the Harrison County Jail. He is being held without bond. Here's Olivia taking a look at the big stories we're following today from around the country and the world.
Pakistan has announced this morning that it wants to remove all Afghan refugees from the country, and they face expulsion in the near future. The embassy issued a strongly worded statement about Pakistan's plan, saying Afghan nationals have been subjected to arrests, searches, and orders from the police to leave the country. Pakistan saw a flood of refugees who fled Afghanistan when the Taliban took power back in 2021. New York City Mayor Eric Adams and the Justice Department will appear in court today. The federal judge overseeing Adams' corruption case scheduled a hearing for today. Adams is facing federal charges related to bribery, wire fraud, and conspiracy. He's accused of illegal actions dating back to 2024. Adams has said he is innocent. And arguments over the constitutionality of the transgender military ban are set to continue today. A federal judge Tuesday said President Donald Trump's military transgender ban has unadulterated animus. A district judge is considering whether to back that ban. Challengers to the ban say the executive order stems from fear and irrational prejudice. The judge said lack of proof transgender service in the military has affected national security would factor into her review. Those are some of your top headlines. Shannon will have more local news coming up in your Wake Up Watch List.
6:52 right now. JCPS students on NTI today. A number of other districts doing the same or just closed. So you definitely want to check out those list of closings. Josh Ninke live in the Storm Tracker this morning. And yeah, this winter weather causing some issues on the roads this morning.
It certainly is. I've been spending most of my time this morning here on the interstates because those seem to be the places that are having the most trouble. Some of those side roads and main roads around the metro have been overall pretty fine. Here we are on 65 North. Let me show you what we're looking at. 65 North looking pretty good. This has had a fair amount of treatments. We've seen plenty of salt trucks and plows out doing their thing. A reminder, if you see any of those out, and they are out this morning, be sure to give them plenty of space. A reminder from what I've seen so far, 65 overall pretty fine. 64 looking great. But then the Watterson has just been a wet, sloppy mess throughout the day. It seems to have been the least affected by any of these trucks and plows. So please be careful out there. We have seen plenty, 7 or 8 different vehicles that have been spun out on the sides of the road throughout the day. A few here on 65, some that are being treated to right now, most of them on the Watterson. So if your commute takes you that direction, please be careful. But again, just take it nice and slow because even in the Storm Track, we've got 4-wheel drive and we have felt plenty of pulling and slushy roads that have affected our going this morning. So a reminder that you might know what you're doing, but these roads looking pretty treacherous here today. Live here in the Storm Tracker, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. And the American Red Cross has been working around the clock to help after flooding impacted parts of Kentucky. They say more than 50 trained disaster workers are on the ground right now, helping provide a safe place to stay, food to eat, and emotional support for those impacted by the flooding. And the Red Cross is supporting multiple shelters, too, across eastern Kentucky. About 100 KFC corporate office employees are expected to relocate to Texas over the next 6 months. Yum Brands and the KFC Foundation will maintain corporate offices in Louisville. Mayor Greenberg said in a statement he is disappointed by the move and he's requested to meet with the Yum CEO soon. Here is Tawana right now as we take a look at this alert day. And when is that snow going to stop coming down?
Well, we're just dealing with flurries as of right now, but now we're seeing the impacts of what happened overnight and earlier this morning in terms of the roads. Storm Tracker still traveling on 65 northbound. Olivia's going to show you more of what's happening on the traffic side in just a bit. But in terms of the snow, yeah, a lot lighter across the region. Just some flurries flying here and there. Temperatures sitting in the teens across the area, but feeling more like the single digits. Eventually, we'll climb into the low 20s this afternoon, keeping wind chills in the teens, drier for the second half of the day before we have more snow moving in for later on tonight. And that is why our winter weather advisory is in place for later on this evening. And that is why we're keeping the alert day going for tonight as well. And we'll see some warming gradually happening by the weekend.
Yeah, Josh talked about how messy the Watterson is. So let's take a live look at I-264 where you can see the roads. We have a crash reported and the westbound lanes at Newburgh Road. And this is really interesting to see because the westbound lanes not looking good. The eastbound lanes looking a lot better. The cars have been able to carve out a path there to where traffic is moving a lot better there. But this is just one of a few crashes that we have. A couple on near Taylorsville Road. So we have one near Taylorsville Road on the Snyder, another one on the Watterson, and that traffic map so yellow and orange. And as we take a look at our Metro traffic cameras, those speeds hovering around 40 miles per hour. So please be careful out there.
Yeah, really reduced. So good thing that the kids are off school today.
Yes, for sure.
Good luck to all the parents, too. Hope you have a great day. Today's show's up next.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now.